The other day I found myself doing what I shouldn't be doing. Then I found myself looking at something that I shouldn't be looking at. I probably know what you guys think. Then I had a desire, a strong desire, something that I wanted. And most of these things start as a thought. Your mind really is the gateway. It's a portal. God told Cain, sin is crouching at your door. It's standing at your door. You can't control whether a bird flies over your head or not. What you can control is whether the birds land on your head or make a nest. You see, that's what you can control. Your thoughts dictate your reality, but you don't control your thoughts by, I'm not trying to think this, I'm not trying. You see, that doesn't work. The more you say, I don't want to think about it, the more you think about that stuff, So that's not the way, When I had this desire, I went after my desire. And I got what I wanted. And I indulged in it and I consumed it. And when I was done consuming it, and here's the interesting thing. When I finished indulging in my desire, it became bitter in my belly. It became bitter in my belly. But then I realized that the path that I took to get my desires was one of those paths that look good, that look straight. But at the end of that path is destruction. The thing about desires is there are certain times, there are things that I desire, there are things that I want. There are things sometimes that my flesh wants, Sometimes, if I'm to be honest, there are things that I know that I shouldn't do. There are things that I know I shouldn't partake in. But sometimes I find myself desiring these things. They just pop up, they pop up. Wanting to take certain opportunities that I shouldn't take. And certain times thoughts come into my mind. Because even though I have these desires, I know what happens whenever it is I try to give into these desires. It does something to me. I just can't indulge no more. I just can't do certain things that I desire to do. Hasn't always been like this. I remember there was a time when I used to give into my desires. There was a time I used to take every opportunity that was presented to me. I used to take every opportunity that I felt to get me closer to my desires. And I would not feel any type of way about it. But I noticed ever since I decided to take my relationship with God serious, it's almost like my conscience confronts me every time I'm thinking about giving in to certain desires. Why? Why does my conscience confront me? Why didn't it confront me before? And you hear people say things like, man, life was good before I came to God. Life was good before I became a follower of Christ. And this is something that I am learning. There's a place Jesus said, I am the light of the world. He who follows me will not walk in darkness. Before you got saved, before you came to Christ, you were in darkness. And when you're outside of God, inside, that person is dead. Before you came to God, everything was going good. It wasn't that everything was going good. What happened was, you were just dead. You couldn't feel anything because the dead does not feel stuff. All the attacks of the enemy, all the spiritual warfare, you were oblivious to them. When the attack came, you didn't even know that they were attacks. You saw and think and felt with your natural senses. I believe it's in Psalms, and it says, everyone walks in darkness. They walk in darkness. Everything is unstable. Do you not know that you are God's? You who belong to the Lord. Do you not know that you are God's? But you are going to just die like mere men and one of those princes. What is he saying? Everyone walk in darkness. That darkness represents ignorance. Do you not know that you are God's? Like my pastor would do. If you notice the story of Job, there was a time when, it says the sons of God, or the angels, they came and they presented themselves before God. And then Lucifer also came. The reason he was able to come and present himself before God was because he stole it from Adam and Eve in the garden. Before the fall, men can access, because that they lived in a different dimension. And so that was why they could see God. They could interact with God, okay? There are certain people that the God of this world has blinded their eyes, and they cannot see the light. So it wasn't that things were going good back then, no. The craziness was happening. All these things that, what just happened is now, because Christ says, he who walks in me walks in the light, because I am the light of the world. Now your eyes are open. I don't mean you're perfect overnight, because the truth is there are certain things that I still struggle with. And I'll be lying if I say I have no struggles. And I know some people do not care about these things. Some people do not really understand the impact and the power of their desires. But this is why it's important for you to care. And this is why you must control your desires. You are at the mercy of the things that you don't know. You might think you're giving in to your desires, and you might think that's life. You only live once, right? You're not in control. Your desires are in control. You're feeding something. There is something inside of you that you're feeding. There is something inside of you that is finding expression through you. I might say this to you, but it will not make sense to you, because the things of the Spirit cannot be discerned with your natural thinking. The things of the Spirit has to be spiritually discerned. And it's important you control your desires, because a man who cannot control his desires, a man who does not have self-control, becomes a slave, becomes captive to their desires. And the fight that you refuse to fight, the things that you refuse to take care of, your children will have to face. The people coming after you will have to face. Cain and Abel, these two brothers, they offered their sacrifice to God. And God accepted Abel's sacrifice, but he rejected Cain's sacrifice. And Cain became upset. Why did God accept his sacrifice and not mine? And God told him, Cain, sin is standing at your door. What is that door? The door is heart, right? And that's the thing. The heart, every time we say the heart, talks about Bible in the word, the heart, you realize that the heart is a gateway, it's a door. That's why your thoughts are very important. Your thought and imagination, these things are prayer. It's important for you to control these things, because as you think, truly, it's true. Like when you see all these people, all these rich people like billionaires, all these people of the world, and they always tell you the power of thinking. These are principles, these are biblical principles that these guys, somehow, they've mastered. And they say you have to speak these things over yourself. It's true. As a man thinketh, so he is. And God told Cain, get a hold of that stuff that is standing at the door of your heart. Cain didn't fight the battle that he was supposed to fight. He gave in to his desires. Okay, but this is deeper than that. Okay, you guys have to understand. And Cain went ahead and built a civilization. His children and his descendants were rulers, mighty men, hunters, warriors. They all got destroyed during the flood because the mindset of Cain, the wickedness and the stuff that he did not tackle, it got passed on to his descendants. So the battles and the things that you're refusing to deal with right now, you see, it's not just about you. And I know some people choose to live on their own and don't think about other people or don't think about certain things, and you think life is just about you because, number one, you don't even know that where your life comes from, because you don't even realize who you are. Desires come and you give into it, but you don't realize that the things that you fail to fight, your children will have to fight. Right now, even in my own life, I'm fighting things that my father didn't fight. That's just the truth. And God keep opening my eyes to certain things that he did. Some people come from a family where they don't even know why nothing ever goes good for anybody. Some people come from a family where there are no men in the family. Somehow, the men will always run away. Or when a man who comes and they just never stay. And some people come from a family where they just never, certain things, there's just a pattern of maybe a specific kind of sickness. Some people come from a family where nobody makes it. Nobody makes it. And when one person makes it, something happen to that person, then the person will lose everything. And sometimes, when somebody finally makes it, and let's say nothing happened to them, you realize it's because they cut all ties with the family. And those are the ones that seem to be doing fine. They break themselves, they took themselves out of that stuff and they found deliverance. So some of us right now, Some of you watching me, the thing that is going through in your life is because your father, your mother, the people before you, the desires that they gave into, the things that they did. So you have to fight, and it's a fight. And the reason why life is a fight is because there are many things that are coming against you. There are many things trying to take away from you. There are many things trying to keep you from becoming holy. Because the way you look at yourself, the way you think about yourself is how other people will think about you. I remember when I would go out. And when I go out, I feel like I didn't dress well. I feel like I wasn't presentable enough, or I might be maybe insecure about something on me. And because of that, it would affect the way that, I move. I will kind of move a bit. It would just affect the way. And I know you can feel it inside. You're just like, no, man, I'm not my best. And it will also influence the way that people as well will interact with you. But I notice that when I go out and I feel confident and my mind is different, it also influences the way that people are, interact with you as well. So you have to deal with your desires. So you have to guide your mind as well. So when their mind became open in the garden, that was where they lost the right. They gave the key, what belonged to them, and the control and the power and the authority, they handed it over. And that was why years later, when Jesus came, Lucifer told him, bow down to me and I'll give you everything is mine. But Jesus never said it's not yours to give, because in the spirit, that understanding was there, because he knew well that man handed it over to him. And so when it says, you do not know that you're gods, and because you do not know that you're gods, you will die like mere men. So it says your life, the way you will live your life, it will be ordinary. You can be saved and know him and still live an ordinary life. You can see things. Your eyes can be open. God can give you direction and guidance to bless you, to give you victory, to give you strength, supernatural strength, to give you wisdom, to give you counsel. See, those are not the things of natural man. And my father came from wealth, so rich. But because he always gave in to these desires, because he never controlled, never got a hold of his desires, where is the wealth today? It has no impact on my life. And the reason that I keep talking about my dad is because his life has to count for something. And when I share this and when I talk about him and his mistakes, see, that's how his life counts for something. And because somebody will listen to that and say, you know what, man, he's always talking about his dad. Man, I know my child will have knowledge about me. Like, what kind of knowledge is my child going to have about me? I best make it a good one. I best lock in. I best know God. You are God's because his spirit is in you. It's not saying you and God are on the same level. But it's saying that you're supposed to be influencing the physical. You're supposed to be dominating the physical because you have access and you're operating from the spiritual. And it's not a blasphemy term, okay? Because I didn't come up with this. I'm just quoting something that is in the Bible. You see, you're hurting people, okay? You go out, somebody speak to you any type of way, maybe you get in a fight, you smack them, you take something from people. And look, I get it, because we're all grown, we all make this mistake, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. That's why it's called the life of Robbie. So I have to be honest and put my things and my mistakes. I can't be ashamed. I can't come out or try to act like I'm perfect. And that conscience that you think always confronts you, so you will realize that that is the ear that God has placed in the heart of everyone to speak to. But the more you give in to your desires, the more you do things your way, that ear gets stuffed. And you keep searing your conscience. A seared conscience is just a conscience incapable of feeling. Oh boy. Oof. Yes, I am strong. I am strong.